All right. Time being 6:30 PM on Monday, April 8th, 2024. We call the meeting to order of the Walpole Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners at the E.J. Delaney Treatment Plant and Washington Street. We have a posted agenda, and the first item is minutes. We're going to deal with 3 sets of minutes, the first one being March the 6th. Does anyone have any comments about March 6th?
I do have a comment. You know, these are hard to remember when they're this, you know, that much time ago. So I have a hard time remembering anything on these. Just to let you know that we should get what I'm trying to say is we probably should get the minutes from the last meeting kind of sooner than later.
I think this is the soonest opportunity.
Well, we had them for the last meeting, but we couldn't have a meeting, so.
Well, there's no minutes for the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the Wednesday, March 6th meeting.
Okay, I'll second that. Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed, abstained, 1 abstention. So we have 301 on March 6th. The next meeting would be March 11th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of March 11th.
Okay.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to accept the minutes of March 11th. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Patrick?
Yeah, aye, I'm sorry.
400 for March 11th. Then finally,
Make a motion to accept the non-minutes of March 25th meeting, when there was no quorum.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. So we have 301. All right, moving right along. The initial appointment, 6:45 appointment with Wesson and Sampson. Leah is unable to make the meeting. So I don't know, do you have any message from her? We're just going to have to continue her.
No, she wanted to be here, and she apologized for not being able to make it.
She's sending somebody else?
No, there wasn't enough time. And we were trying to do something with remote viewing, and we just didn't have the time to set that up.
So she's going to continue to the next meeting then?
Yes.
All right. 7:15, which, you know, we're way ahead of ourselves on that. They're not here yet, apparently. The Spring Street, Ryan Linhart, Paragon Investments. So why don't we go to the superintendent status report?
Really. So, since the last meeting, we've had one water leak. On March 13th, we had a water main break on Park Lane. Happened around 3 a.m., and the crew quickly isolated it and got it under control. And we ended up replacing about 34 feet of water main. That was
Can I say something about Park Lane?
Yes.
If I recall, kind of recently, there was a problem at Park Lane. Do you remember that?
We've had several breaks.
Yeah, what goes on with Park Lane?
It's the condition of the main and the amount of pressure there. You know, back a couple decades ago, it was bad enough that we had a helicopter flying over for the news. So it's had its issues.
Is the soils bad? I remember, I think on Colleen Drive, where the soils were like rotting the pipes from the outside in. Is it, I mean, it's in the same general vicinity.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was cinders there or not, because of that.
I mean, when they were digging at, you know, replacing the main, they didn't notice anything that said, hey, this is totally different than what we normally see?
On this particular section, I don't know if that was the case. But I know we've replaced quite a bit of that main already. That's what's in good condition now. That's that. No issues with MTUs, they're noteworthy. The pilot unit program is now to 36 installs at its running rate. There's more training take place on March 25th, with more to come. As
Yeah,
far as the work board,
Yeah, but we need, this commissioner does not have his meter in.
okay,
So if you want me to go to the March 25th, I'd like to have, so I know what I'm doing. All right?
well, we're already past March 25th.
What?
The training already took place on.
Yeah, and so I missed it, so we need a new one.
It was training for staff, it was not training for our.
Yeah, but I'd still like to go because it's always something that we need to know.
Can we see a demo of it?
Yes.
I just want to see the customer service side of it. Just see a demo of it, yeah.
Yep.
When's the next one?
Planning to pilot any other software vendor, or how do we?
We don't have plans to implement any other pilot immediately, other options.
Yeah, I was just wondering, have we already settled that this is the, if we go replacing all our meters, that this is it, or?
Right now, the system's looking pretty good. Doesn't mean we can't ignore anything available.
Well, I would-
Why don't we get this vendor, since they've got the pilot, come in next meeting and
Sure. They'd be more than happy to.
They can show it on the
do what
screen.
Jeff
Give us
asked us to
something.
do a little demo or whatever, explain, answer questions. That'd be good, yeah, okay, thank you.
We submitted the ASR as of last Friday, and I know you like the acronyms, Patrick, but annual statistical report. It's a requirement. It's an annual requirement, it's right in the name, that we submit every year. So that was done.
Have you been getting the letters from MWRA asking for the rates and things like that? Have you seen that letter?
No.
I sent you the, and, okay. All right, just wondering, have they asked you for anything?
No.
No. Okay,
Scott, could you send me the link to the report?
I can send it to you, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
But what, not the link to that report, I can actually print it.
All right, I'll take a copy rather than you printing, rather than me printing.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
The water management policy was published, it actually hit the newspaper last Thursday, the 4th. And it's also on the Water Department website and the Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners website.
Scott, you put the horse before the cart. What should happen is that what the water management should be approved by us before it goes out to the public.
It doesn't need to be because it's required by regulation, it's not a permit.
Yeah, but we need to see it before it goes out. It should, that's what we do, we set the policies. So
So-
it needs to come before this board, and if it's not discussed much, that's fine too. But it should come before us, like it had in the past.
So what's different now is we have a withdrawal permit, and it clearly states the requirements placed upon the town, the language that has to be in there, the dates, the May 1st to, those are all written right in the permit, there's nothing to change with those.
Yes, and we still should see it, so we can, because it's going to wind up that we're going to have to do something if we don't have the water and how it's going to be used.
So you actually have that now, it's in the permit that was issued, I can get it.
Yeah, I've never seen this, so I'd like to see what's going on here.
It's logical, and there's no criticism of you, Scott, but
No, I didn't take it that way.
Patrick brings up a good point, just in general, for the public to understand. This is one of these things where the state government or higher government authorities begin to encroach on home rule and on the authorities and rights of the communities. There's a big issue going on right now with MBTA zoning, where the state and the MBTA, a transportation NGO organization, are trying to change the zoning regulations of the town of Walpole and other towns. And it's a similar type of thing, where at some point, the community may want to not have those encroachments without a vote. And there are certain things these people could put in our permit that would be beyond what the community is willing to accept, as far as their overreach into the operations of our water system. So I respect your point, Mr. Fasenelli.
Thank you.
That's okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, that was pretty much the end of it, so the last thing would be that all our routine tasks and maintenance continue to be performed.
Okay, anyone have any? No? Okay. So we have an abatement request for vote.
Is there any reason we shouldn't follow our standard practice, Scott?
No reason.
No?
They're looking for the sewer portion of the.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What's the anomaly on January 2nd, bro?
The broken spigot, the water went outside.
Well, no, the January 23rd through the 26th, yeah, but what's the anomaly on the 2nd?
Very first item on
Yeah,
the
228. I don't have an explanation for that number.
We're not concerned with it, though?
I'm not sure.
My only comment is it overinflates the average that we're using to make the calculation.
Right.
That's my concern with that number. If you want to take an average on the 3rd through the 22nd, that's fine. But 228 cubic feet of usage on the 2nd, when they're averaging, I don't know, from the looks of it, less than 20 a day. I don't know, Bill, you're better at this than me.
I will, I think it's a good point, Jeff. So I'll make a motion that we follow our standard procedure on abating the sewer charge if we use the dates January 3rd to the 22nd as the average, to come up with an average use.
Well, this,
Let me ask you, why do you assume that's an anomaly? It may be that every so many days they run a ton of water.
Well, they
And it looks like,
use the pool fill, the ice rink and pool fill form, so I'm thinking maybe they filled an ice rink that day.
Right.
But again, same thing. It's not, it doesn't look like normal usage, and we're calculating the abatement based on normal usage.
Even if it was a pool fill, it would be abnormal.
It would be, and it shouldn't be used in the calculation.
I have no problem with this at all, except to wonder why the town didn't notice that there was a spike in the usage and call these people. You know,
They may have, that might have been how they identified it.
did they?
I don't know.
Did you call?
I'm not sure if the call was made.
Well, you see, that's the difference. If you did call and they let it keep running, then we're not, then they're responsible for that. But if we never called them and said, gee, you're using a huge amount of water,
But it's only a sewer abatement, we're not.
I know,
abating
but
water.
I'm saying, the reason we have all these things we bought for our meters is that we try to limit the use of water, like you said, because it chalks up the average, right? So,
That could also be something where if they notify us they're gonna fill their pool, like on January 2nd, then that would not seem unusual if they said we're gonna be using water outside.
This, at first I was checking to see if it was over a weekend, because if it does occur late on Friday, they won't discover it until the following Monday.
why though? Why is that? Why doesn't it go off? Why is there an alarm go off at your house so that you know that there's a problem and you'll call these people?
Well, you could look at the,
And the commissioners can take turns. Because if you can use an awful lot of water in a weekend.
oh, I know, yes. I'm just telling you, that might be a reason, but it's not. It's the,
Okay, I'm trying to give you a solution.
okay.
And that would be that either they have it ring at Scott's house or Steve's house or somebody's, or the fire station or something, so they can notify somebody and it can be addressed.
Does the new meters do something, I know when you look at the graph, you'll see it,
It'll tell you if you got a leak.
but does it tell you?
You can turn on notifications,
Okay,
it will.
so we've got us all taken care of.
What is
I
it?
haven't tested it by opening the faucet yet. But I might.
All right, so,
He's made a motion to use the numbers, the daily usage from the 3rd to the 22nd. I'd second that.
following our standard practice.
Okay, moved in second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. Okay. Now, we have two items of 130 West Street. We have an appointment at 7:15, and we also have a memo in our comments requested. So is your team here, or are you the team, or
I believe it's today.
just you today? So would you like to open your, can we open the appointment early, or is that not a?
Okay, I'll move that we open the appointment early.
Okay,
Second.
moved in second. All in favor? Aye, opposed, 400.
Scott, can I have the plans, please?
We moved the appointment from 7:15 up to 6:45. Okay. Representing the applicant?
Yes, I'm Stephen Cabral. I'm an engineer with Horseman Engineering, 103 Commonwealth Avenue, North Attleboro. And I do have a thumb drive of the images I was going to discuss tonight. You please copies that make it easier for you. All right.
These two right here?
Thank you.
The lower one.
Thank you.
Oh, if I may, this is Ryan Lenhart. He's one of the owners of the property. Yeah, what I handed out and what I have on the thumb drive is really just a handful of images that'll give an overview of the project. Basically, the site's at the intersection of West and Spring, and on the left side of the screen is an aerial photograph showing the existing conditions. And as you can see, the site is essentially fully developed, and there are two commercial buildings on site. And on the right side of the screen, it's an aerial view of the proposed development. Basically, it's an L-shaped building that's right along West Street and Spring, and we have the two-level parking garage. Because the topography is such that Spring Street is about 12 feet lower than the height of West Street, the architects designed the building so that there'll be an access from Spring Street that'll actually go beneath the building into an underground parking level. And then on West Street, they're able to drive at a level grade up to an upper parking deck. So the way this image is, the darker color shows the upper deck, but there's actually full parking below the upper deck and actually below the building itself. If we can go to the next. Yeah, this is the architect's rendering of the building, and this is a view from the intersection of West Street, which is on the right, and Spring Street. Basically, there's 5 levels to the building. The lowest level is the parking garage. The first level has retail space, and the retail space is about 25,000 square feet. And then there are 3 levels of apartments. And the project proposes to have 95 units. And of the units, 9 will be studios, 62 will be 1-bedroom units, and 24 will have 2 bedrooms, for a grand total of 119 bedrooms. And the retail space is just a little bit, excuse me, above 25,000 square feet. So if we go to the next. Yeah, this is just another depiction of the facility on the Spring Street side. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but this is where the access would be below the building to get to the underground parking level. So if we can go to the next. This is the view from West Street. And as I mentioned, because the topography is such that West Street is a little bit higher, the parking access from the upper level is essentially level, and that allows people to drive to the upper deck. Okay, and then the next. Yes. Yeah, this is a view from the interior of the property, and what this actually shows would be the access from West Street on the far left, and then you would enter the relatively level upper parking deck. Then the first floor, again, is going to be the retail, 3 levels of residential, and where the railing is, that's actually an open area to the view of the lower parking lot. Okay, if you could go to the next. And these 2 screens just give typical sections of the way the building has been designed. On the upper image, this is view from Spring Street. So again, you can enter, drive into the lower parking lot. Then once you go beneath the building, there's an open courtyard. And then if you continue to the western side, you're below the upper deck. This is the upper deck that's accessed from West Street. So again, from Spring Street, we drive into the lower lot. The first level above is retail, and 3 residential units. And the lower image is just a view from the West Street access point. If we can go to the next.
What is the double parking on the,
Oh, that would be the tandem parking for some of the residents.
so they would, it's front to bumper?
Front to back. It's similar to, say, if you have a home with a 1-car garage.
Yeah.
And so the tandem parking, of course, would be for 1 unit, and they would have to, of course, coordinate access. Oh, again, this is just a typical view from the Spring Street side. You know, we'll be proposing a new sidewalk along Spring Street, the lower parking level, retail, and again, the 3 residential units. Okay, if we could go to the next. Okay, now I just brought a few slides showing the engineering plans, which, again, this is a view of the upper parking area. There'd be a standard access from West Street, relatively level upper parking area. And on level with the upper deck would be the first floor retail space. And then below the retail space is where there's going to be the drive-in beneath the so-called porte cochere, where they could access the lower parking area. And on the next slide will be an area of engineering view of the lower parking level. So as I mentioned, you drive in beneath the building, you have parking below both wings of the building, and the open courtyard below, and you have parking below the upper deck. Yeah.
Is the retail meant to be under the building, or is that the residential?
The retail is actually on the first floor, which,
Retail parking, I meant.
well, actually, we're in the central business district, which does not require parking. So all of the parking is dedicated to the residents.
Get it.
Where would you expect them to park for retail?
MBTA station across the street.
Which is,
That's the prime space. It's one of those things where, according to the zoning ordinance, it's not required to have parking. We are in discussions among the team as to if we could allocate some of the residential for them.
it's not a
But-
sewer and water issue, I'm just thinking.
Yeah,
of
I'm just-
Going in that.
Yes, and that is a topic before the planning board.
Yeah.
Or if we can go to the next. Oh, and actually, this is the last slide, and this represents the preliminary design of the utilities. Our tentative plan would be, because Spring Street was lower, we would have all of the building drains come into one connection on Spring. And we're planning on having, subject to input from Public Works, having a water connection off of West Street. Now, on this plan, we show one 6-inch connection, but we understand that you'll prefer or require one domestic and then a separate 5 So unless you all have another preference, we're leaning towards that utilities, water from west, sewer on Spring. But the location could really be wherever it's best for you all. In regards to the water and sewer demand, you know, we use the Title V regulations for estimating the maximum day water and sewer. And based on the 9 studios, the 62 one-bedroom units, and the 24 two-bedrooms, with 119 bedrooms at 110 gallons per bedroom, we have a maximum day water use of 13,090 gallons per day. And for the retail, we are estimating 25,617 square feet. And according to Title V, the estimate is 50 gallons per day for every 1,000 square feet, which equates to 1,281 gallons per day, for a total on a maximum day of 14,371 gallons per day. The building will be fully sprinkled, and we'll be arranging a meeting with the fire department to make sure he's satisfied with the existing hydrant locations on West and Spring. We did not, at this point, we don't show hydrants along the parking garage because we don't anticipate the fire trucks would be driving on the parking deck themselves. We assume they'll be fighting the fires, if there ever is one, from West to Spring. We'll be meeting, like I said, we'll be meeting with the fire department to make sure they're satisfied with the fire department connections as well as the hydrant layouts. So that's a very brief overview of the project.
Is there a need for moving the water?
Yeah, how many services do they have? Do they have service from both streets? I can't. Do you have service, water services from both streets, West and Spring?
Right now, we're only proposing a water connection from west. If y'all prefer that we split,
Well, you know what, how many units here?
there's a grand total of 119 bedrooms and 95 units.
Well, you know, it's great to have redundancy. You have those people, and you have one line coming to feed all this.
Yes, the plan was to have one master meter.
But you have access to another street with the water main.
Yes, we do.
And I was just curious that it might be better for you and even for us a little bit, because it gives us a little bit of grid on there. If you had 2 different water lines coming in, but that were connected. Because should one fail, you have the other side, and it gives your property a little bit more safety as water is concerned.
Yeah.
Not often do these people have a chance to have 2, feeds to their property,
Yeah.
but this does.
No, we're certainly willing, because we'll have water lines throughout the entire building, so it's,
And you have fire suppression, right?
yes, we do. So if that's the preference of the department, we certainly could do that. And as we go through the planning board process, we're more than happy to come back and give you updates periodically. And of course, we'd like to have your input as we go through the process.
That'll be interesting. They'll be looking for recreation spots on the point.
Yeah, we do have a small, I didn't bring the landscape plan, but on the lower level, we do have a landscape area in case the residents have dogs or something, just so there'd be a grassed area for them.
All 0 irrigation.
Yes.
Okay. Jeff, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Bill?
I would just concur with what Carl Baldoff wrote to us, because it's back in March 1st, but that we're related to the sewer and water, I guess adding what Pat suggested.
Okay. All right, you set?
I'm all set.
Okay. So I guess we're good.
Okay.
We'll
So-
give our comments.
Okay, thanks for having us, and again, we're more than welcome to come back.
Well, thank you for the nice presentation, and
Planning board was asking for comments by April 1st, but I'm sure that they'll accept something, and I guess I would make a motion to letter to the planning board that we're in agreement with the town engineer's comments that he wrote on Friday, April 1st, to Scott, and we get that attached thought on,
looping, redundancy. Yeah. Okay?
Okay,
I have a comment.
Sure.
We all know the issue we had with a development back a couple years ago relative to entrance fees. Should we make sure that our applicants understand our entrance fees, agree to our entrance fees? Have any
Well, that's a good
questions?
point.
For everything that comes in front of us.
Now, we discussed that, you're right.
We did.
Yeah.
And we really haven't taken a position on it. And the comment is, we need to make sure you understand what our entrance fees are.
Yeah, we'd like to get a letter, I guess, from the applicant, that they reviewed and understand the entrance fees that are involved in what they're requesting
yeah,
from the water department.
okay.
As
Well,
we have, we may come to an allocation system at some point in the future, so we don't need to approve things that be on the bucket unless they're willing to compensate for the impact
Okay,
on the system.
okay. And I assume the fees are online that we could easily access?
Yeah.
They are.
Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
We
Okay,
agreed to
thank
send
you
a
all.
note to the planning board?
Okay, so,
Second, right?
Yes.
moved in,
Second.
seconded? Okay. All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
400.
thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The next item, we have, where's my agenda here? We may ask, Mr. Petrosi, you have anyone else coming to your appointment?
Excuse me?
Do you have anyone else coming to your appointment?
Oh, no, the trouble.
I think we can, correspondence too, we can handle that, just, I mean, we've already made our comments. The town engineer had made some suggestions, but none of them are related to our water or sewer, so. I
All
don't
right,
think,
do you want to make a motion?
well, we've already sent our comments, I don't think there's a need to send
Bill, what are you looking at? I'm sorry.
correspondence number 2. This is the one on the,
Comment request number 2.
yeah,
Oh, 241 Norfolk.
yeah.
Okay.
It's the one that the Russo, it's on the corner where the kennel is. So I think we
All right,
could
so
go on
just-
to 3.
We've seen and noted, or you want to say we've,
I'd say read and noted.
yeah, read and noted? Okay.
So now we could go on to Union Square.
All right, would you like to, would you mind if we move you up?
I'm a little early, so I mean.
It's up, it's up to you, if you want to
Make a
sit here
motion.
for a while and collect your
Make a
thoughts. All
motion to move the 7:30 appointment up to now?
Second.
right, moved and second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 400.
About efficiency, right?
Well, it is a game tonight.
Scott, do we have anything on this?
I got baseball practice tonight for my Little League team. We've been rained out for
Not sure if it's on.
2 weeks now.
Yeah.
All right, we'll try to move along. I'll get the big items out of your way.
Oh, I don't have a fancy, computers, so. Good evening, Lou Petrosi for Wall Street Development Corp. I'm here tonight to discuss a revision to a project that has been ongoing for several years. You may recall that this property is the subject, or has been the subject of a 40B application. It started out as 32 townhouse units, was considered to be expanded to 40 units after we acquired a parcel of land on Brook Lane. Subsequently, the project was approved and is finally approved as 20 individual single-family lots under Chapter 40B. However, as a result of some not concerns, but accommodations to the homeowners on Brook Lane, which is now going to be the primary access for the project, they requested that we look into the possibility of reducing the number of homes in the development from, and do the best we could with that. So it turns out that under conventional zoning, that we can comply with the regulations and provide for 15 houses. And the 15 houses, or 15 units, will all be accessed off of Brook Lane to a cul-de-sac. And this is currently in front of the zoning board at this time.
So is it still a 40B?
This application is not a 40B.
Okay.
So the difference between the two is 20 units, 20 homes under 40B, 15 homes under conventional zoning, special permit. None of the, essentially all that's changed from one plan to the other is the lot lines are gone. It's 5 less homes. The utility and the roadway network is the same. And so we were encouraged by the town engineer to come to the sewer and water commissioners to just refresh your memory of the projects, of the various variations of the project. And so we are here, as far as the commissioners are concerned, sewer and water will all come off of Brook Lane, tie-in. We're not able to loop the water to Burns Avenue because of, how should we call it, a landowner dispute.
It's on Union Street.
So we are providing a water line as far as we can go to the property line, and then it's up to the town to negotiate how, if and when they want to loop the water with that particular person, who just happens to be the chairman of the planning board. So it's up to you guys to figure out what you want to do there. But essentially, sewer and water will come in off of Brook Lane. It's 15 units, 3-bedroom homes, and really everything else is the same that you previously have seen regarding the infrastructure. I believe the town engineer has made some, I don't know if he's sent comments to the sewer board, but
He has suggested, as you said, that bringing the water line for a potential loop into Burns
Yeah.
Ave once, whatever, or if
yeah.
every dispute.
I mean, it's unfortunate that we have someone that's interfering with that, but there's nothing that we can do, at least there's nothing that I
I've watched the hearings.
care to do with that. I mean,
It's Jack owns property in Burns Ave. And
he's claiming ownership of that portion of, it's actually about 18 feet he's claiming ownership of, but it's not really something that I'm interested in continuing the dialogue with.
The town engineer, Mr. Chairman, the town engineer is also suggesting replacing the 6-inch line on Brook Lane with an 8-inch line and a triple valve assembly on Union Street.
What's there now?
It's an existing 6-inch main.
What's on Union Street?
Oh,
16-inch or whatever.
and of course, making the water connections for the folks on.
Right. In the past, we have, it wasn't part of the conditions of approval that were with the other variations. I mean, we've suggested that in the past that, you know, with an offset of the connection fees, we'd be happy to look into it, provided that we didn't have to remove the existing pipe that's in the ground, because it's an asbestos concrete pipe, so.
Scott, we've left those pipes rather than taking them out, so I don't think that would be best practice.
Well, I understand it, but again, it's a liability to us in the event something else were to get exposed in the wrong fashion, then you have to dispose of it in a way that's very expensive. So, but I mean, if the commissioners want to consider an offset on connection fees, we'd be happy to look into that, the cost of doing that. But it's roughly about 250 feet of water main plus all of the work out in Union Street, which is very expensive to do. So,
How many homes are on Brook Lane?
there's 4 homes that would be,
So,
oh, well, actually, 3. This home is on Union Street. So there's 3 homes, 3 connections, all of this work out on Union Street, plus the water line.
yeah, so you already have a 6-inch line there,
Right,
yeah.
yeah,
And that's, you've reduced the number of units dramatically.
yeah. Well, I think we've got adequate service, and not only that, but going through the single-family concept, we don't require sprinklers or anything of that sort for fire protection. It's not required. So this will be regular single-family home construction. And so that's pretty much it. The sewer's all gravity. All the services are gravity. No pump stations, no individual home pumps, and no other pumps. Everything is gravity down to Union Street.
And neighbors should be happy
Well, nobody's ever happy.
before. Okay, anything else?
I do have, right. On the map, is there any way we can connect the end of Brook Lane to Burns Ave?
Well, that's the thing. Several years back, you installed the town installed a new water main down Burns Avenue. It was our intention at the time to connect into that water main and come out to Brook Lane. But unfortunately, we're being prevented from doing that because of a landowner that has disputed access onto, it's about 18 feet of distance.
Burns Avenue is going to be extended, is that correct?
No, right now, we have no more.
I see, okay, but I thought I saw plans for it to come.
That's all been,
That's gone?
Yeah, originally there was a through connection from Brook Lane to Burns Avenue. People had a lot of concerns about cut-through traffic and other issues. So this project now is going to be simply a one-way in, one-way out from Union Street.
What about Puritan Place?
What about, where is Puritan Place?
It's,
I don't know where Puritan Place
Puritan
is.
Place is off Plymouth Lane, which
Oh,
is off Coney Street.
Oh, that's, you have to go through,
You'd have to go through Trap Hole Brook.
yeah,
Through
you,
what?
Trap hole Brook.
yeah,
I know, well,
I can't
yeah.
get, I don't have
but
access.
This is
to
a
that.
water main.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not, I'm not going to the Conservation Commission to cut through. I'm
Well,
No,
having,
this is a simple street, Patrick. This is a very small street you're talking about, right?
Yeah, what I'm
It's a
talking about,
reduction from a big project.
Brook Lane, I'm trying to say if we can, this place needs to be connected. Look at the way it is. There's nothing, there's no,
yeah, that,
there's
I'm
no
not-
grid here. These are all dead, this is a dead end, this is a dead end, right? That's not good for a water system.
Well, you approved it,
Approved what?
all those streets.
I never approved this. I never approved that.
well,
Believe me, if I could have, I would have put a right of way in.
He's,
it's not,
he's putting it out to the end of his property so that if, whatever dispute disappears or
let me
whatever.
just put, let me put it to you this way, if the town really wants to loop the water there, you could take it by eminent domain.
Oh,
if
it's
you
right
wanted
there.
to.
They did.
So at least, what could, you're putting a cul-de-sac on
Correct.
the end of Brook.
Yeah, we're putting a cul-de-sac at the end of our development, and the water line is being extended to our property line.
Okay, yeah,
And
well,
it's, and
you could leave an easement at the cul-de-sac that could be used in the
yeah,
future.
well, yeah, exactly, we could do that.
Okay, you can do
Yeah,
that,
yeah, we can do that for sure.
all right.
And I think that's the intention, for us to stub it all the way to the property line.
And it would be a utility easement.
We can label it, that's a good idea, nobody's brought that up at this point. So I think that's probably the easiest way for us to accommodate the looping, or not us, but we
Because
can,
if we leave it like that, it's not good.
we can contribute, we can contribute to the,
You could label that the Fastenal easement.
no, yeah, we can actually name the whole development Fasanello Way. Fasanello's Way. No, but I think that's a good idea, because nobody's brought that up as far as labeling it a utility easement. We just put it there, you know, because we know that it's important to have a loop system at some point, and we would have gladly done it. But, like I said, unfortunately, we have been prevented from doing so.
Okay. All right, so what do you want us to vote on?
Well, I'm here just to give you, I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to give comments, but,
Okay.
I don't know what, I was just asked to appear before the commissioners to bring you up to speed. And if you want to consider the trade of this work,
So that's replacing the 6-inch asbestos line with an 8-inch out to Union Street, doing all the Union Street work. See what we can do to just abandon that line in place.
right,
And then basically see what
Right.
works out from an offset and
yeah,
connection
exactly,
fees, so.
yeah. So that would
I think
be,
we consider that.
that would be the way that we could make that happen. Because it is, you know, working in, it's gonna be high ground, there's gonna be a lot of water there, a lot of work, traffic, and so on. But anyways, that's something we could try to work together on, if you're interested.
Can we,
What's the value of that, Scott? I mean, to go from that few houses, to go from 6 to 8?
Well, there's also a future connection potential, or it will loop eventually.
He said it was
The
250
future-
feet.
there's no
What's
future
the-
connection
Just
over
off the
there.
cuff, what's that cost?
I'm not sure what 250 feet would cost.
Well, what would be the future connection there that goes to
Where
the swamp?
Where the easement is at the end, if they ever get the rights to connect to the other one.
then we would loop Burns Ave and
You'd have an 8-inch
Brook Lane,
distance.
two dead ends right now.
Right, I guess what you're asking is what's the difference between 6 and 8 inches
For
there?
what you're proposing, not for anything else. I'm
Right.
just,
You're
it
gonna have
doesn't
6
seem
going
very
into
much
an 8.
any increase in value, really,
Not-
to the
that
homes.
Doesn't help me.
to the homes you're building.
Right, doesn't help me.
The only thing I can think of is a.
And
6
Burns Ave was
going-
already built.
What's the size of the new one they put in at
So you're
Burns?
not-
Oh, we're putting in 8 inch.
No, what's the,
No,
what's
no.
the size of the new one they did on Burns
I
Ave?
think it's 8 inch,
Okay,
yeah. So I think,
right.
you know, it's typical, you know, you try to improve you know, infrastructure that is old and not up to today's standards. So I think that's what the intention of the town engineer would be, to just take that section. But from a development standpoint, it doesn't benefit us at all. It's an expense that we don't need to incur. So, but, like I said, if you are interested in having that improvement done and want to try and offset the connection fees in some way, you know, this is probably $5,000 or $6,000 per house in,
Times 15?
how much?
Times 15 houses?
Times 15, yeah, so, you know, it's, we just did one in Westwood for the Dedham Water Company where they offset, we put a water main in the wrong place and accommodated them, so, but I don't need a response, but if you want to make your comments to the
$90,000
zoning
in
board.
connection fees.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the 6-inch main is fine for the homes he's showing there in the plan. Burns Ave is already developed. Both water lines are on. Why would you want to rip all this out and do 2 more inches? There's no fire protection benefit there. There's no real reason. In my opinion.
How old's that 6 inch
So what is
asbestos
the-
line?
So
Well, they're
Where
going
is it in
6
the
to an
plan to be
8.
replaced?
It's a few years, it's in the 5-year capital plan at the end
So
of it.
that one is in the 5-year
Well,
capital?
all of them are essentially.
Steve brings up a good point. There's a hydraulic issue going from a 6-inch into an 8-inch. So it may be something to be
But
considered.
there's no purpose to connecting, is my point.
Oh, but there's the purpose
There's no
of
future
connecting.
development, there's no future use there.
There's only benefit if we.
It is,
built
there's a
Burns
future.
Ave.
It's already built.
And in the van.
I'm saying if
Burns
they.
Ave is already built out.
I
There's
know.
homes there already.
But if we can connect those streets, that would benefit them and the town.
Can I make a suggestion that we send a note to the planning board
Well, we're
and
gonna
say
pay for
that we're in agreement with Carl's comments, and he is suggesting, and we can change where he's suggesting that they bring the water line up to the end,
Right.
that there be a utility easement, and that there could be some discussion in point 7 at a future about upgrading the 6-inch, current 6-inch line in Brook Lane to an 8-inch, looking at, numbers to see if it makes sense on our end for the developer, if we were going to adjust the entrance fees, so.
I will point out one other thing that I've been told, I haven't verified it yet, but they're planning on repaving Union Street next year. So if we wanna make that decision sooner rather than later,
Yeah.
it'd be
Scott,
something.
could you find out where it sits on the repaving schedule? Because that would be an issue, certainly.
At least to get off of Union
Yeah.
Street, So that work would have to be done, even if we haven't already replaced the Brook Lane stuff. At least it would be off of Union Street for them to pave it, if that's, I don't know if it's this year or next year, but I've been told it's on the list.
Made a
Do you
motion,
know-
Mr. Chairman? I have.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah,
But
that's
I'm
already-
in, send a note to the planning board.
What zoning board, but,
I
is
mean, no,
it zoning board or is it planning board?
let's see, applicant,
Because we're in front of the zoning board now, but the planning board won't get this until, after the zoning board does their job.
are you already scheduled for the planning board yet?
No, we haven't filed with the planning board
Okay,
yet.
so
because-
make that to the zoning board, and we can save a copy later when it goes before the planning board, that we're in agreement with the town engineer's letter as outlined in correspondence request. Number 3, adding, when we get to point 4, which talks about extending, getting the potential of connecting with Burns Ave, having the water line go to the property line, but as you've added, Pat, with a utility easement at the end. And item number 7, replacing the 6-inch main in Brook Lane with an 8-inch, with the possibility of some discussion on adjusting entrance fees. We'll just see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, we go with that, if it makes sense for both parties. So anyways, that's my motion.
Yeah, but that's, that's tell me what the motion is, exactly.
Well, we'll have to write it out, I mean.
What is the motion, that, what?
This, right
That we
here,
agree with the,
yeah, we agree, and the two items I've added is your item
Yeah.
on the utility easement, and in number 7, where he is, the engineer, town engineer is suggesting replacing the existing main 6-inch on Brook Lane with an 8-inch, and he's got a thing that says,
all right.
I believe, subject to, resolving land ownership issues or some language.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay. All
Just
in
quick
favor?
discussion, can you find out when Brook Lane is set to be replaced? Like the water line?
Yes.
Okay. Because if it's like within 5, 10 years, let's do it now and
Yeah.
put it on the developer. If it's something you got 20 years from now, because the integrity of that pipe's gonna last me another 20 years, and I don't wanna entertain, like John said, going from a 6 to an 8, because we don't need it until the Burns Ave thing, but, okay.
Well, we're gonna wind up paying for it anyway, but,
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Big.
All right, thanks
what
very
is the vote,
much.
by the way?
We haven't done a vote yet.
We haven't,
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 400.
all right,
thank you very much. Thank you for taking me out of order.
okay.
Okay, moving right along here. Okay, what do we got next?
Can I ask that we do the MWRA monthly project update, and then I've got a split? I just want to
Yeah.
talk through the memo from.
That should be
Jim.
quick, because she isn't here.
She's
so-
not here, but,
Yeah.
I mean, do we have any comment from the exorbitant cost that Norwood's proposing? And I mean, is there anything to discuss here?
I
Well, I
would,
think there's a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
but
There is,
We don't
but
have to do it tonight.
I would think, wait until we have Leah, because I have some thoughts on this also, and I think it would be worthwhile to have our representative from Wilson and Sampson.
yeah. I mean, I think that back to our charge, right? 2 years ago, explore an alternate
Yeah.
water source. We're here now, we're looking at potential $15 million in Norwood cost plus, our pump station and all that. Let's dust off the Drury Lane.
Yeah, well, we do
Dust it off. We
have,
still have money from the,
I did request,
That-
when I first saw the thing about the potential emergency connection, that Rick get an updated estimate for the Minebrook 4, which is now 4.65 million. But in relationship to yours, if we have to consider something else, we at least have an updated figure for that.
we voted and got money approved to explore redundancy, right? So we're down this lane on MWRA, we've spent a bunch of money. How much is left, and do we now push forward with a Minebrook or some other alternative?
Right, with the redundancy, there were 3 things. There was MWRA, there was Minebrook 4, and there's also satellite wells.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
we should get a cost.
how
on
much
that.
is left over from what we've spent with Weston and Sampson and everything else we've done, lawyers, whatever? What's left from that original, and I don't remember what the number was, 300, 350?
It was somewhere around that, but we should get a cost on the satellite wells, and I assume it would either be 5 and 6, since in 5, when I look at the map, it's like very limited options. It's either directly to the right or directly to the left. It's like swamp on one side and, the 400-foot,
Those 2 wells influence each other as well.
yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
the satellite wells.
So-
I think that's deceptive, too. I think we're gonna have to, if you're going that road, I'm gonna demand very sophisticated experts, because it's really, you're just taking water out of the same well from a couple different spots.
Yeah.
You're not really doing what we wanna do, which is get a whole new source of water supply that's not tied into the contaminants in this sole source aquifer, and is gonna produce more water no matter what, because we're just kidding ourselves when you do these other tricks, in my estimation, and I appreciate what you said, Bill, but I think what we haven't done in this, there's a conundrum here. Sharon got a complete emergency thing and a very nice building built for like less than $3 million.
Yeah.
And we're being told 15 million, and it just doesn't square. There's something exaggerated here, there's something out of line. and we have to figure out what it is, because I don't think a pump house is worth $6 million or $5 million. In fact, it's a fraction of that. And I don't understand the other figures either. So, I mean, God help us if somebody's making up numbers here to make things look bad, to clear the public on doing this. This is
I think we,
critical to the town, and it's not something that should be, it's got to be represented properly.
That's Starlight.
well, I think, John, is that we have to address, a $14 million thing, because I'd be concerned that there wouldn't be a chance of town meeting saying, going ahead spending $14 million. So I think to your point of finding this, what makes up that large number? Because you believe that that's way too much, so.
Well, it is, and there's differences in costs when we're talking about it. I mean, the environmental costs of what we're talking about over here could be, I don't know how you'd even put a number on that, but they're adding in wheeling costs, which that's a variable cost of the water. That's got nothing to do with the project as far as getting the water source online. That's a totally different issue.
Right, that'd be an operating cost, I
Yeah,
agree.
it's
So
not,
that
it shouldn't be in the
considered.
capital
But
budget.
20% of what we're paying for the water, that seems very, very high.
It does.
So if I'm paying $1 a gallon, coming right out of Quabbin, now I'm paying $1.20.
I believe it's the same cost Sharon's paying though, correct?
It's-
If they take water.
If they take water.
Yeah, but you remember, the thing about that is, down the road, they may be paying a fortune for PFAS protection and other things that we're not gonna have to pay for.
Well, but Sharon is.
So you're not gonna
is
compare apples and
purely-
apples.
Sharon's is purely an emergency declared by the DEP. And our situation, or what we've been talking about, is we're taking it every day. And, so, I mean, there is a slight difference, unless what was suggested here, do we want to look at an emergency connection at my lot?
No, we're taking it every day and we're preserving our wells. We're taking the stress off
No,
our
I'm
wells.
just saying that if.
We're allowing for better
That's an
management.
emergency connection has been now brought up as a possibility. It's out there now and has to be, at least factored into our decision. So,
Right. No, I agree.
Let's go on to
And we saw
correspondence four.
that, and meanwhile, the amount of allocation that's been made available is being whittled down, as Patrick has testified to in his recent email. Is that correct?
What's,
That you cited another community?
oh,
has-
I think I
Gone in
sent it to you,
for
you saw the name of it. Yeah, they want to increase their water take from the MWRA, and we voted for it. So that piece.
so now they're an existing community, right?
But
They're an existing water user.
They
I
are,
remember,
yeah. But
That would
they
come
want
out,
to
at
increase
least
it
the way
by,
they described it when they allocated
other
that,
pocket?
and it would come out of the 50 million that was not going to be available for
Well,
new communities. Now,
yeah.
they can make and choose however they want, but at least it's not another community that is like us who's,
well,
going
we're kind of different too, because we have sewer,
all right.
okay? So we're connected to MWRA, so it's not like we're inviting some foreign entity here. And as a matter of fact, I filed a complaint that they installed an office, an MWRA office in Walpole, and never notified me nor the town administration that they were bringing the archives into Walpole,
All right.
which I didn't like that idea. They should at least tell us when they're moving.
What was the address?
It's, Industrial Road. It's Industrial Road, you take a left.
Production?
You'll see, the reason I saw it was I saw a Commonwealth of Mass flag. And I said, oh, that's interesting. So I stopped and went in and found out it was an MWRA
Curious George.
building. I mean, they're renting it, but it's a big building.
We'll go
And,
into correspondence 4. That horse has been beaten here.
Okay.
So did you know, I think I told some people
Yeah,
about it.
you did.
Yeah. But anyway, I didn't like the idea that they never informed us about that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you. So we got the Alsarabi subdivision plan?
This is way out there on the north wall. You gotta go off of 109 to
109.
get to
I
the-
almost bought a house there.
Did you?
On Lois Lane,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh,
But,
what?
Get the leave wall to get there.
Yeah,
but there was a bus line in the old days that went up 109.
yeah.
So it was kind of, I worked in Boston. But that bus line
Yeah.
doesn't
It's
function
okay.
any longer. But, looking at the
Those are
map,
big, huge houses.
this area needs to be, we need on Lot 1, there has to be an easement. Lot 3 needs an easement, because, and here, if you look at this, is that a smart TV?
It is.
Can I throw a mirror, something?
All right. It may never work again there, Steve, so
Let's see if I can mirror this over to you folks. Anyway, what I have, and what this is showing, connects.
So it should be available to connect your wireless.
I want to get on the screen, just to show you what this looked like and what it looks like now. There's a big difference. This map is a little bit older. And they're developing this whole area, and it looks like they're going to continue to develop it. And like this Boulder Trail, that's not on the older maps that have been added. This is kind of new, right? I don't remember ever coming across that Boulder Trail.
maybe we should
Is
have
this-
the
is this-
developer come in. The planning board's looking for comments by April 26th, but the letter that we got from the town engineer has indicated that, we had approved a layout back in 2021, and Carl's saying there's been significant changes, so.
Well,
Yeah, maybe we should have them come in. I agree with
yeah,
that.
take a look at this. If you look at this, okay, Old Town Road comes down and ends. They're gonna develop here someday. So when they do that, we need to get some type of easement to get over to here. And these two need to be connected. Otherwise, this place is like all dead ends.
Yeah.
The
well,
water
this-
comes in, and look what we did. I gotta give us credit for, you can't see it on this map, but we connected this whole area, except that end, to over here, see, over to the, see this water line we have at the end of Donna Drive? And it goes over to North Street.
North Street.
Okay, so that gives this area a whole bunch of water. But if you look carefully, you'll see that this area over here
Oh, here it is. I think he's got-
stands by itself. Ah, there it is. Is that me on there?
No, I.
No, he's,
That's a distribution map.
I have a distribution map though.
Okay, right there. Now, okay, you see how we managed to get the water from North Street into that area, but it only goes into that piece. We need to get the water
Donna Drive.
from that piece over into the other piece, because if you look at the end of Old Town Road, you'll see that that just stubs there, and that's going to be developed. And somehow we have to connect it to the other area so we get some type of circulation.
Is there any issue with, this is all fed by that, the Texaco booster. Is there an issue with increasing development there that would require some
Yeah, that's a
change.
good point. There was contamination there. Was that
That was
sealed off or what?
They can't have
Yeah, so
wells.
We know it's not serviced, there's along, just before you get to the entrance to Adams Farm, there's like a little shed there that actually has a pump that's actually pushing the water continuously up into this area instead of being on a water tank. I'm just concerned that a lot of development
Oh, yeah.
has happened since 1982 or whenever the Texaco line,
Well, this is an example of it, because the lots were oversized up there, because they were thought to be gonna be on the wells and so forth.
Take that.
But this guy, this was one house lot. See the small frontage he's got there?
Yeah.
And he's now divided, he's got his house there, but now he's divided his front yard into 3 more lots.
Okay.
That's really what it is. It's an existing house that was on one lot.
But see
And
what's,
he's chopped the thing up and added a road here now.
and what's this over here? The same thing? This was chopped up too.
So, I mean, what you're saying is true. They could continue chopping over there,
And what,
you know.
and then we have these things. I never saw those before. Okay? And this, do you want to see what this? if you
no,
want to
I
take a-
think I've seen
You can
them up
see
there.
it? No, you're not looking at the plans though.
To answer your question, at the rate that they're proposing additional,
Right.
it equal less than 1 gallon per minute on all those pumps. He's looking at 1,450 gallons a day,
Yeah.
so that's a lot of gallon a minute.
All right, I was just concerned because when that was put there was hardly much of development up in this area. And I have no idea, other than I think it was designed to give if there was a water tank that had an overflow of 400 feet above sea level, but I don't know if it can pump enough, but if you've done calculations and Steve, you're thinking about fire flows might be an issue, or?
Well, if you continue to add roads and hydrants, part of the process will be flow testing, run those calculations, that would tell us if we do need to upgrade our pumps to handle more services and more hydrants, speed over pressure.
It wasn't a well-planned area, because the guy
I mean, it's
that
been
developed
there for 40
Starlight,
years.
the Starlight guy left the town
Years
and stuck the
without
town with the
something.
bond.
Yeah.
The town had to actually finish it, I believe.
Oh. Well,
It wasn't a good,
so we're going to
Situation.
invite them to come and explain?
well, this is American, this is Legacy.
So my big concern is that, what I just said, we need to have a way to service this, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Actually, the best way to do it would be to connect Donna and Crosswoods Path. But I think and there are things here, I don't know, are these, Scott, are these, what are these?
Those
Are
are
these
lots.
proposed lots?
I believe they're existing.
Whose plan is this?
Those are existing lots.
Huh?
Those are existing lots.
These are existing lots. Okay, if they want to build on these, are these Form
They're
A?
already built.
Yeah, could you get us a plan for that,
So we don't have any,
for the next meeting, that's showing showing us when the houses are and or ask them to do it, where the houses are and where the empty land is, so we can understand what's all taking place there, what's filled in? That's a good point.
yeah, because if we had known, you know, we should have, right, like, it cries for look at this. This street ends right here. Is there a cul-de-sac on this here?
Which one?
Or whatever this road is here, see this little road?
That's
don't-
Donna.
Yeah.
That's Donna,
No,
okay. Now,
That's, no.
Donna just ends there,
It's a dead
right?
end, yeah.
But it should be right over to here. There should be a easement so we can get water over to Crosswoods Park so we can service that. This whole area needs to be serviced with something besides one line up in 109. Is there a water main? I assume there's a water main on 109. Let me take a look.
There is.
There's a big business up there. Is that in Walpole, that big
It's a school.
school
School.
daycare center? Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Now, how is that serviced? They have a well, or that we service in
No,
that?
we provide water.
We got
It's
town
only
water.
an 8-inch line on County Street. So,
Yeah, we should take a look at that whole area. I mean, what's going on there, because that looks, like you say, when you look at it from here and you realize it's just one line servicing all those different.
do you
And
remember
They probably
us?
have been sort of,
So
you know,
That-
every year that somebody's done, and there's no grand scheme that, and you end up finding, how did this all happen? Oh, well, they did it, you know,
We see
piecemeal.
Shaker Lane, that's the school. Yeah.
Do you remember how we got
Oh, yeah.
the line from the German club to that area?
Yes.
Were you on the board then?
I don't think I was on the board
No, I
then,
think,
but
I think what it was, the German club, I think they own a lot of that land. They were kind enough to give us an easement on it, basically because we were gonna provide them with water. They didn't have water.
The Germans?
Yeah, the Germans did not have water.
They're the last
What are you
one.
talking about? Rabbit hunter?
we're a thirsty group.
Those Germans.
They are actually the last ones on the line. The hydrant there.
Hassenjäger.
Okay.
All right.
So we're gonna ask them to come in, is that okay? We have time, because we're gonna meet before the next meeting,
22nd, we meet.
22nd.
and they meet on the 26th.
26th is when they're
Okay.
looking for
All
comments.
right, so we'll,
And they're just starting the
hey,
process.
they do that
anyway.
all the time anyway. The engineering department brings the comments in the same night.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with us giving them 4 days.
And the other thing is, I mean, these things go
And they
for
can come in.
multiple hearings, and if new comments come in.
They can come in
read
if they wanna come in and explain.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that we should come in. Hey, this is confusing. for sure.
Correspondence 6,
Okay.
I don't think, we've
Scott,
already
you
made
know
our
what I
comments.
need?
I don't see there's
I
any
need an
need to-
updated map of the town water system.
If you
Okay, I
recall,
got-
when
this one
Mr.
is-
Truax came, he said, no, we didn't change the layout of the streets, the water's all the same. As far as I'm concerned, there was nothing else.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
think we
It's
sent
2010.
a letter
No,
saying
it's,
that.
I think 2008.
Just send
I'll
it to
turn
me in
this
the
over to you so
email.
you can say
Give the
no.
map and I'll get it in my thing, and get rid of
Mr.
this.
Abbott's gonna determine what to do with 6 and 7.
All right.
We're moving on. We're doing nothing, is
Okay.
my suggestion.
So we have the monthly project update. We don't really have anything
Yeah,
on the MWRA.
hopefully she'll be available next meeting.
And maybe Steve could explain his water summary.
Yes, very interesting.
Here you go, Scott.
It's too bad that.
Can you blow that up a little bit? Can you increase that, like, or is that hard to do?
Well, you have
Okay.
it, the pages, I think you.
Yeah, I can
this
look
is
at,
the
I can look at
PowerPoint,
right here.
right?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes, we all have it.
You did a great job on this, by the
So
way,
a
Steve.
few meetings ago, we talked about where we stand with rates and fees of other communities. I went ahead and looked at a few of the neighboring communities, and I picked from a source of, well sourced like Walpole, Bellingham, I think Norton was in there. And then MWRA communities like Wellesley, partial MWRA like Canton, and then full MWRA like Norwood. The basis for how I looked at it was 2 people in a home and 4 people, and I used our per capita number of 56 gallons per day. So, if you go to where we stand, you can see 2 people over a quarter, your bill's about $74, you're in tier 1 and tier 2. 4 people pushes you into 3 tiers, about $175 a quarter. And also, you'll note that we have no base fees. I looked at Norwood, they bill monthly. 2 people, about almost $28 a month. Quarterly comes out to $85. And again, same 4-person, a few dollars more than us. They have, you're both in the first tier, and then the 4-person, you end up moving in the second tier, plus your base charge, which is based on the meter size. Rentham was pretty interesting. They bill twice a year, and they have 2 flat fees, or 3 flat fees. The base charge, a capital charge, and then another capital charge, which they kind of rate off your usage. So it's pretty complicated.
So are those charges, or is it like, this is project A, and we got a thing, and now 5 years later, we did another project, and now that becomes, capital charge?
So it's, for instance, one's a transmission line capital charge, it's $1.06 per thousand.
Yeah,
So I'm assuming every few years, that number goes up.
okay.
I'm sure it doesn't go down.
Yeah.
Wellesley, they have two charges besides the base fee, an indoor charge and a ready-to-service charge. One is flat, one is off a meter. Just comparative, the two-person, they're about a little less than $25 more than a two-person, and their four-person is a little less than us.
Well, let me ask, explain that again. They have a,
So they have an indoor charge, which basically says that, a flat fee for just having the water service, and then they have another ready-to-serve charge, which is based off the meter. So they have two additional line items besides the usage.
the usage is the $20.96?
Yes, and then they have a monthly indoor charge, and then a ready-to-charge size.
Ready to charge, what does that mean? Okay.
Basically just saying, the meter's there, we can service your water. A lot of these have different names, but again, they're just ways of raising revenue and
It could also be called a ready-to-serve charge.
ready to serve, ready to charge.
Okay.
Also, Wellesley changes their rates in the summertime. So I believe the first tier stays the same, but as the tiers go up, they scale their rates up to reflect irrigation. Canton, which is a partial MWRA, they have a base service charge, again by meter size, and then the tiers. Two-person, stay in tier 1, four-person, you go to tier 2.
So we're comparable.
Oh, yes, pretty close there. Dedham Westwood, a bit higher, they are a bit higher than two-person, about the same on the four-person, a minimum monthly bill based on meter size. Norton, considerably higher. Their capital charge is a percentage of their usage. Which, for instance, at a four-person, you guys go into 3 tiers, and then your capital charge is 25% of your water charge. You can see their rates are much higher than ours. I think they've been doing a lot of capital improvements over the past few years. Bellingham, 2 separate charges, a meter charge based off size, a capital improvement charge. One thing I will note is they reduce the capital charge of seniors from $5,250 to $750. I'm not sure how they verify that, but it is noted on their website.
So the seniors almost pay no capital improvement charges.
Correct.
You got a 52 to $7, yeah, wow.
Needham is considerably less than ours. I was surprised at this. They have a flat service fee, and then steps, again, like us. I looked into it more, and right in their website, it says the general fund helps them out.
Which is surprising that they would do that. I mean,
I think they're going through a change, so they're kind of slowly introducing the higher rates and the service charge, trying to catch back up. That's what I'm assuming they're doing. Then here on the summary page, I kind of marked out who's got monthly billing. Almost everyone's got a surcharge. Few have capital charges. And then I kind of did the average for the 2 people, 4 people, where we are. And then the population. Dedham Westwood was the biggest one I looked at, almost 2 towns. And then I looked at population over 65 because that Bellingham was pretty interesting. So here in Walpole, 19% of our population is over 65. So just a factor to consider. If you do reduce that, you gotta make it up somewhere else. And then following pages are all the rates, how each town has it posted on their website.
To bring this down, to synthesize it, right? Is Walpole a lower rates, medium rates, or higher rates than those several towns that you just,
So if you compare the average on a two-person.
yeah, on two persons, let's try that first.
We are about a little over $20 less than the average.
So we are on the upper, lower, middle.
On the four-person household, we are only $3 below.
Yeah, we're right on the average with the
Okay,
four.
and for four people.
$3 below,
So we're lower than the average?
yes. And I will say, I use 56 gallons per day. We were right on the threshold of a lot of these tiers. So, if you use more water than that, your bill could be, a little more than you think, just because it pushes you into a new tier.
Okay.
But everybody the calculation were done for everybody using the same.
Yeah, 56 gallons per day,
But
correct.
you're saying ours were on the edge of the tier?
No.
Oh, the others
no,
were.
For calculating the other bills, if you use more than 56 gallons per day, it pushes you, you're very close to the next tier.
Okay.
Estimating usage. So, if you were a higher user, you can expect a higher bill.
So people who live in Walpole are paying about the average of the surrounding
Or less.
towns? About the average?
Or less.
At a four-person household. yes.
Well, I mean, how big is the average? But I'm saying, is that correct to say that?
I think, if I look at the census, I think it was like 2.5 to 3 people per household,
Yeah.
if you really kind of break down each household.
So, okay, so for two people, I know we're low. What about a family like of, 5 or 6?
I didn't go up that high, but again, that would push you into more tiers. And, we were out at 4-person at 56 gallons a day, you were right on the line on some of these tiers. So I would expect your bill to ramp up, just like the bill here in Walpole would ramp up.
But I think the thing he's proving is that most towns do have a service fee,
Yes.
and that a number of them, several of them do have also, on top of that, a capital fee.
And I think it's also interesting to note that, it's too bad for Pradeep, because I know he's particularly interested in that we're really not out of line with what other people are paying. And again, as you mentioned, it may change the usage a little bit, of up or down or whatever. I mean, if you want to compare apples to apples, you got to use apples for everybody, and if you use different fruit, maybe a little bit slightly different. But I think we're currently,
Well, it's interesting, you said one town has a transmission fee?
Yes, right, they have a transmission and a, what do they call it? A transmission and a water meters and fixed network fee.
A what?
Water meters and fixed network fee.
Okay, so is this like Edison with the?
I think-
supply and generation, the two.
Yes.
I think if you look at the trend, the water bills are starting to look more like electricity bills,
Yeah.
where you have, your supply charges, your distribution charges, your usage charges. They're breaking each one down to kind of,
In the end, though, people will still look like they do with your electric bill. What's the norm that I'm paying that amount? I don't care how you break it down. I mean, the electric bill, it's 2 big categories, and then you look, each category's got like a half a dozen or more, sub-items in it. But,
Well, the itemization is supposed to make you feel like you're getting more for your dollar.
yes.
It's transparency.
Spelling out all-
Yes.
It's not just
Yeah.
water, you're getting all these distribution,
things.
you're getting,
It's like-
generation.
Like your cable TV bill, but I never watched that channel. Sorry. All right. Hey, excellent job there, Steve.
Yeah, very nice, very, very thorough, appreciate
You
that.
may hang on to that, so.
Okay, so then, let's see.
Water management.
The water management, you want to read that? Should we just,
It was published. It was,
Okay, read and
published.
noted, okay.
That's what I was complaining about, that we should have seen that and approved it before. And we should take, after you look at next, on the agenda for next meeting, can we have on it the water management policy so that the commissioners can approve it or not?
It's already been on the agenda.
Yeah, well, did we vote on it? Specifically on this? No, we
How about if we
didn't.
vote on it right now? I'll make a motion that we approve the water management policy as listed and.
Well, it is on the agenda, isn't it?
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
I'll second it.
Are you making them?
I did, and it's been seconded.
No, I'm just gonna, go ahead.
Okay,
I've
any
already made a
discussion?
motion, it's already been seconded.
Any discussion? Just for the public's purposes, the
Okay.
guts and essence of this in 2 lines is, if you have odd-numbered homes in Walpole, your watering days are Monday and Thursday. If you have even-numbered addresses in Walpole, your watering days are Tuesday and Friday. So
And it was published in the Hometown Weekly, I believe, yes. so-
And if you are watering a lawn, you must sprinkle only between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m.
No. You don't.
Oh, no, you
You want to avoid those.
you
time
want, you
periods.
cannot water between 9 and, just the opposite. You can water outside the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, I mean, that's the essence of it.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 300.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
Okay, we got that. Thank you, Patrick. All right, now we have the sewer, the water production.
Only item to note is that we now had a string of 5 months of more than the historical average. But I haven't seen the revenue numbers yet, but it's still early.
I meant to ask you, our revenue flow depends on how much water we basically sell.
Right, we don't pump water, we pump to meet what's bought, purchased.
Right. Now, when we get to, like, for instance, we have the water management policy. That, of course, affects our revenue stream.
Not as much as you think, though, Pat.
But how
I've
much?
looked at to see,
How much does it affect it?
really not a whole lot. It's
I
more
know,
the
but how
weather.
much is that? Is it
Well,
10%,
it's weather
5%,
dependent.
2.5%?
It's more than, in the usage during summer is really affected by the weather. I've looked at houses that, to see how, do they really change a lot? And most people just use water in the house. They're not using it outside, so there isn't much of a fluctuation that I've found, because I thought that it might be, but there really isn't much, as most, and I look at my neighborhood, there's like 2 of us who have, irrigation system, as mine's on a well, so I don't, it doesn't change.
So people aren't watering their lawns, basically?
Most don't. Now, you get into certain neighborhoods that everybody has an irrigation system, yeah, but
Well,
even up where, the next one on the agenda, I forget what the name of that's, Mill Brook. I mean, I went up there, they was, it was surprising that,
Well, I don't water my lawn, but we do water the food gardens.
yeah,
But it's drip irrigation, and I did a study on that.
yeah.
The drip irrigation, you can do a huge area for like 1/20th
Yeah.
of what it takes to do surface.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? There's little holes that drip a drop of water. And there's no way to encourage that for lawns, is there?
I do
I don't think there
remember
is a
that we
kind of
had
a-
a commissioner many years ago who wanted to suggest that we encourage people to have underground drip irrigation, zigzagging back and forth across the lawn. And I don't know of anybody who is doing that, but anyways.
Anyway, well, we could make, we approve people with with irrigation systems, especially on new subdivisions, we could maybe put that in. Because people like lawns. What I'm trying to do here is say people like lawns, but, you know, they obviously can't distress the system during the summer. But there might be a way to help them. And help us too, because we'd increase our revenue.
I may be a case study for you, because I didn't water my backyard last year at all, and now I'm facing what looks like a dead orange backyard, and I'm trying to figure out, I'm gonna have somebody come out and tell me, do I have to take this whole thing out? Can I save it some way? Unfortunately, I should have watered a few times. I was trying to be a good conservationist, but oh
You
my
know what the
Lord.
secret to that is? Don't grow grass.
Oh boy, here we go.
Joe Moraski ripped up all his lawn and all had shrubs and whatever, the whole yard.
Okay.
Millbrook,
Millbrook, 48 Millbrook meter test results.
the meter is fine.
So,
Yeah, it was actually under registering slightly,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If they're gonna fail, it's gonna be under, not
usually.
over. And,
so we'll notify them.
We already have.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I know they said that they unplugged it, but as I think I mentioned to you, John, my controller, it gets electricity from my outlet, but if that's shut off, there's a battery inside that just keeps the thing going, in case of, power outages.
Yep.
So doing one isn't going to necessarily, although I wouldn't rule out that there's a broken pipe somewhere in their system that's, even though the thing isn't spraying it all over the place, it's still leaking out.
Did I ever tell you the story about the
You did, Pat.
MWRA? About the MWRA and their water system? There was a place, I think it was in Newton, near the aqueduct. And this neighborhood had this pure, beautiful stream running down
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
I mean, subdivisions were built around this stream until they had that problem. Remember the problem where they had contamination?
Yeah.
Anyway, they did a whole check, the whole system, from Quabbin all the way down to Boston. Found out that was a leak that had been going for years, for decades.
Yeah.
And making this stream, which was very picturesque and nice.
Good drinking water.
Anyway.
I'll
All
make
right.
a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have no old
We need
business.
to, oh, no, I want to know about Jarvis Farm, what's happening up there?
Almost. I have no further information on Jarvis Farm.
Huh?
I have no new information on Jarvis Farm.
Nothing at all. You know, it bothers me. I lose sleep at night thinking there's cars in there leaking brake fluid and transmission fluid and battery acid and anything else that's dropping into our aquifer. We really need to get an environmental parking lot or have nobody use it.
Well, the consideration, if it reverts more back to passive recreation, that might be the best solution. It might be the best savior to not having any contaminants there, and it might allow us to actually put some solar panels there and generate revenue so we could have MWRA water for the next 100 years for the town of Walpole. So it might be, instead of doing that, if the baseball doesn't need as much as they think they do, and there's other opportunities for the peewee, so they can do passive recreation or play ball without, needing a parking lot, might be a good thing to consider.
Okay.
Anyway, so we have no
made the
further
motion?
business. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I already made it.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
300. Thank you, gentlemen.